Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Quorum is present for the City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority, Finance Authority, Parking Authority, and Joint Powers Authority.
Okay, now it's time for public comment. Any persons wishing to address this Englewood City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority, Finance Authority, Parking Authority, or the JPA on any item on today's agenda may do so at this time.
There are no speakers, Mayor.
All right, then we'll go to closed public comment. We'll go to item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, Successor Agency members, and Housing Authority members, Dotson. Padilla. Morales. Fogg. Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Consent calendar, items 2 through 12.
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members, Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla. Morales. Fogg.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. DR1.
Staff report presenting the proposed fiscal year 2021 through 2022 annual budget.
Mr. City Manager, is there a report?
Yes, there is. Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm very honored to present the fiscal year 2021-22 consolidated budget. I'll be doing that with the assistance of Kiona Buchanan, our budget manager. If I can have the first slide, please. The total budget for the fiscal year 21-22 budget is $323,726,380,000. However, today's presentation will focus on the general fund portion of the proposed budget, and if there's any questions at a later date regarding any of the other special or restricted funds, staff will make ourselves available to answer those for you.
Okay, Mr. City Manager, before we go any further, you know, we always give a $300 million figure, and then we say, this is our operating fund. So let's make it clear that that remainder of that balance are funds from restricted sources that we get from the state, that we
Right.
get from the federal government for our Section 8 housing program. They're
RSI.
restricted,
Right.
our cell insulation.
Right.
Things that we can only spend on policy areas that either the state or the federal government provides those funds for.
You're correct, Mayor.
And what we're talking about right now is is our general fund.
Right.
You know, the monies that we use to run the city.
Right.
And one thing that we've changed this year is to make it clear that every one of those numbers is a projected number.
Right.
It's based on historical data.
Right.
It's based on our expectations. And so, you know, we always only say projected deficit, but these are all projected expenditures and revenues.
As Mayor, as you've said, and the council knows this as well, this is just a point in time today. This budget is fluid. It changes tomorrow. You know, when we bring it back to you on the 28th for final approval, there might be some adjustments that you make as a result of our meeting today that we'll bring back for you to incorporate. So this document is a living document that changes.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Buchanan, I'm sorry to delay you.
Right, yeah, right.
Okay.
So our projected revenues are $152,547,207. Our projected expenditures are $160,772,221. That brings us to a projected deficit of 8.2, or $8,225,014. Next slide. So I just want to go over some of the contributing factors that impact the general fund most significantly. The first is salary and benefits, which are about 80% of our general fund budget. It's about $100,509,520. And the reason why the most significant factor that resulted in this item increasing is because in the past we've taken into account that a lot of positions that we budget for don't get filled right away. In this environment, we're anticipating that most of these budgets, these vacant positions will be filled sooner than later, so we factored in that additional $4.3 million back into the salary and benefits line. Our health care cost for active employees has increased $563,735. Our public employee retirement system costs have increased about have decreased about 4.04%, and this is due because the city refinanced and issued new pension obligation bonds to fund a portion of our unfunded liability. And as is done every year, the LA County Fire Department has increased our contract for their services for the cost of living, which is about a 5.55% increase. And lastly, our assessment districts. The city has 4 assessment districts that support and enhance maintenance within those respective districts. Those costs for those additional maintenance services do not collect enough fees to cover the full cost, so the city's general fund is supporting it by $775,000. Now, with that said, Ms. Buchanan will go over in more detail our revenue and expenditure summaries. She'll also review our past 5 years of revenues and expenditure comparisons, and she'll also identify the CIPs that are recommended for next fiscal year.
Ms. Buchanan, could I segue back to the first slide for 1 second, which shows the general fund overview? Now, again, we really want to make sure that people understand what we're talking about. So in that projected deficit of $8 million, are there aspirational or capital projects that the city will make a decision as to whether we're going to complete those this year?
Yes.
Okay.
That is
And
correct.
okay, and so if necessary, we will take that money out of the general fund reserves, and those are things like our ball field improvement projects to renovate our ball fields and related improvements for sod and irrigation, city hall renovations, water and lighting features for the city hall fountain, improvements to electrical and mechanical systems, our service yard over at the city yard. We've needed to replace the roof there for quite some time. That's estimated to be $981,000. The ball field improvement project, $1 million. So in all these aspirational projects that the council will decide if we're going to allocate general fund reserves. So even though we show a projected deficit, some of that includes projects that we feel they can't wait any longer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's
Mayor, if I
correct.
can elaborate on that, it's about $7.1 million in capital improvement projects that, like you said, you have the option to either approve or not. We're including them in the budget today, or we're proposing it, but those individual projects will come back for the council to approve one item at a time. And if we should not bring them all back within this fiscal year, that will reduce the shortfall. And as you said, if we should in fact do them all and the revenues don't support it, we will use our general fund reserve.
So,
Mayor, if I
Go,
could add
please.
something, because I want to point out that the mayor mentioned that many of these capital improvement projects are some that we deem must be done
Right.
regardless of where we are. And that's important because I don't want the public to get the picture that we're actually creating capital improvement projects as pet projects when we don't have the money. These
Right.
are items that may in fact have to be done regardless and where we'll use reserves. So I just wanted to say, you pointed it out, but I wanted
you make a
Sorry,
perfect
brother.
example. It's the
Yeah.
same as if you have a house and your roof leaks.
to, you have
All
to
right?
do it.
You have to fix
You
your
have to
roof.
fix it.
And so you use your savings even if you
Exactly.
can't afford it out of your
Exactly.
the funds that you get from your job. Exactly. All right. So anyway, I'm sorry to belabor that, but go right ahead.
All right. Okay, as we proceed from those highlights, I'll be giving you some general but also detailed information relative to our revenues and expenditures, beginning with the revenue summary discussion regarding our citywide revenues. So the total citywide revenues are projected to be $307,766,720. This slide provides a snapshot of the citywide revenues by fund, grouped by category, percentage, and amount. The general fund, as you can see, makes up half of the citywide total at $152,547,207, which is about 50% of the citywide total revenue budget. There is also other funds grouped by category type that support the citywide revenues largely as well, which we have our proprietary funds, Our proprietary funds, as you can see, are $48.5 million or 16%. That includes our water, sewer, and sanitation and parking fund. Our special revenue fund, $51.6 million. That's about 17% of the citywide budget. And another significant one is our CDBG and housing at $26.8 million, which supports all the housing activity throughout the city. On this slide, we have our general fund revenues by source, percentage, and amount. The general fund revenue budget is, again, $152,547,207. The fiscal year 22 revenues, the general fund revenues are, I'm sorry, you guys, there we go. The fiscal year 22 revenues are made up of the selected group here that you see, our property sales, UUT, motor vehicle permits, business license, car club taxes, our transit occupancy tax, fines and forfeitures, and other revenues. The other revenue sources, then those that have been already noted in my discussion right now that perform well this year, includes our tax revenues related to the stadium, and they're projected to bring in approximately $20.5 million, as well as our departmental revenues that's going to generate about $21 million, which is up $7.5 million from the last fiscal year. And the reason why I pointed out those additional revenues because they also had some significant weight on our general fund this year. Other revenues in that category that I just spoke of makes up approximately 25% of the general fund revenues of $152.5 million.
Could I point out one thing? And now some people would ask, well, why do you expect to make, more? Some of this is based on conservative estimates on what we will receive from ticket taxes, parking taxes, generated by the entertainment venues. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I just want to make that clear. This isn't money that we expect to fall out of the sky. This is a conservative estimate based on our limited performance right now of our venues. Correct?
That is correct as well. And this year, our revenues are actually $23.4 million above last year, and that's mostly because of the discussion you just had relative to the stadium, and then also our property taxes as well that weigh significantly on our general fund revenues.
Okay, since you mentioned property taxes, that's not because we've increased property taxes.
Correct.
That's because properties have gone up in value in the city.
That is correct.
All right, the city doesn't raise property taxes. Say that again.
No, not at all.
The city
It does
never
not
raises
increase the
property taxes. All right, thank you.
That is funny.
Okay. To further my discussion regarding some of the revenues pertaining to the general fund, I will give a brief overview of the top 4 general fund sources that makes up 58% of the total general fund revenue budget. And I'm sure our top 4 generating revenues for the general fund is our property tax, sales tax, motor vehicle in lieu, and the utility users tax. I'm sure you'll like to hear some of the speech about the property tax. So the property taxes are estimated to be $36.5 million, which is approximately $7.9 million or 27.5% higher than last fiscal year.
Let's break that down, though. We need to break that down. Is it or is it not true that any given year the most a homeowner's property taxes can be raised by the county assessor is 2% in a given year?
Yes, but see, that's what I was getting to.
Well, I'm going to get to it.
Okay, you're going to say it before me.
All right. All right. So, but what I want to make clear is a large part of this property tax increase has occurred because there have been so many transfers of property. People have bought property, and those properties are reassessed at the full sales price.
Correct.
So that doesn't affect Englewood residents. That affects people that purchase property as a new purchase. Is that
Correct.
right? Okay.
That is correct.
All right, go ahead. I won't interrupt you again, maybe.
So the increase is greatly attributed.
I know, right?
So yes, as you spoke, that the increases are also attributed to our pass-through as well as our pension override tax that derives the increase on property. Also, it's based on the city of Englewood's experience in terms of, the properties that we have within the city that's been transferred or bought. This year, the net taxable value increase is 6.1% citywide and 3.2% for the general fund areas for the 22 tax roll for all the properties in Englewood. I do want to make note, though, that there was one change in the assessor's applied CPI factor for the property tax, which used to be at a rate of 2%, is now at a rate of 1.036%. So even though there's been a rate drop in the CPI, we're still doing fairly well in terms of the property values in the city of Englewood. Next is our sales and use tax. Which is part of the general fund. The sales tax revenues are projected to be $19.8 million in fiscal year '22. That's an increase of $2.5 million or 14% from '21. Now, this increase is attributed to the anticipated performance of sales following the prior year while still recovering from the pandemic. So if you noticed in some years past, be it, we can speak in fiscal year 18, we had actual revenues of 18.5, which doesn't seem to be very significant to date at being 19.8. But again, that's based on us going through a recovery period in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic. Motor vehicle and lieu tax are estimated to be $18.6 million, which is approximately $1.9 million or 11.6 higher than the current adopted budget. Motor vehicle and lieu tax increases the same way in the relation of property tax. So as property tax goes up, so does the motor vehicle and lieu tax.
Could you just take a second, explain what motor vehicle in lieu means? Because most people won't know what that means.
In relation to the property tax?
No,
or
no, no.
Where
Where does that money come from? What is it taxed on?
It's taxed on
registration
vehicle
of cars.
registration for cars.
Okay, that's
and
it.
ownership of vehicles.
Thank you.
Our utility users tax is the last of the top 4 categories in our general fund revenues that are significant to the general fund. Our utility users tax are projected to be $14.3 million or 14.3 million for fiscal year 22, which is $300,000 or 2.2% higher than the current fiscal year. And this increase is attributed to an increase in our individual groups of utility taxes, one being electric had an increase of $500,000 and telephone having a decrease of $200,000. So the net increase for the group as a whole is $300,000. And those are taxes related to users within the community with residential and commercial. Next, I'll be speaking to our fiscal year 22 expenditures. So I'll provide a little discussion and summary of our citywide expenditures. This slide shows the citywide expenditures by fund, grouped by type, amount, and percentage, which are projected to be $323,726,389. As you can see, the general fund makes up 49.7%, which is just a little bit shy of half of the citywide budget, as with our revenues. There are other funds grouped here as well that have a significant portion of the city, that creates a significant amount of the portion of the citywide revenues, which are our proprietary funds at $47.3 million. That's collective of water, sewer, sanitation, and parking. That's about 14.6% of the citywide budget. Our CDBG and housing at $27.4 million, which is about 8.5% of the citywide budget. And one of the larger being our special revenues at $59.7 million, which is 18.4% of the citywide budget. This slide shows the citywide expenditures by department and amount with their percentages, which are also projected to be the $323,726,389. I know it's kind of small there, but what this provides you is the allocation portion of percentages by department. And police department has the greater share at 24.5%. That does not include fire. Now, this slide is our general fund department general fund expenditures by department and amounts. And our general fund budget is $160,772,221, which here I'm able to tell you the number, which our public safety, including fire, actually makes up 60% of the general fund budget. This slide provides a snapshot comparison of the general fund revenues versus expenditures for the last 5 years, of which the current fiscal year 21 is a year-end estimate, and as with fiscal year 22 being a projection of the estimated revenues and expenditures. If a deficit is actually realized, general fund reserves will be used to balance the budget at such time. That speaks in light for fiscal year 21 year-end estimate as well as the 22 budget. I have a note here for anyone who would be questioning the amounts in some of the previous years, being fiscal year 2018 as well as fiscal year 2020. Fiscal year 2018 year-end actuals includes the one-time infusion for the pension obligation bond that we did during that year. In our past year, fiscal year 20, shows the city was issued a pension obligation bond for a portion of our unfunded pension liability, which reduced the interest cost from 7% to 3.5%, which is why we were able to speak to a slight decrease in what the annual value was for the unfunded liability.
Let's go with that for a second. So you, in the earlier slide, you showed that we had a 4% decrease in our expected payment, and that was because we reduced our interest payment by doing a debt swap, which any smart homeowner or company would do, going from 7% to 3.5%.
Correct.
Further, in an earlier year, because we did that debt swap at that time, we went from a projected deficit to a surplus. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And so this is what companies do when they can take advantage of interest rates. Is that
Yes.
correct?
That is correct.
Mr. Fields, is that correct?
Right.
All right.
And the funny part about that, some folks try to find fault for us doing that,
And then everybody copied
right?
us.
And next thing you know, everybody wanted to do it.
And it largely reduced our liability overall, so.
Tremendously. Thank you.
Yes. So for the ending part of the presentation, I'll give you a little information relative to the capital improvement projects. The capital improvement projects are projected to be $61.2 million. This amount includes all of, as you can see, all of the funding sources indicated here that are relative to all the different federal, state, and grant programs which we provide funding for to support our activities for capital projects. The larger triangular portions are supported by special revenue category funds, which are mostly state and county related, street and transportation funds, as well as the land side access modernization program, which those funds are to support the intelligent transportation systems improvement and upgrades that we are actually going through at this time. There's currently $6.9 million in general fund projects appropriated at this time, inclusive of the citywide at 61.2, which the mayor will indicate a little bit more about those. But
I wanted to do it right now.
Okay,
actually.
okay.
Since we're
Well, a
talking about
couple-
capital projects.
Okay, so I mean, the main projects that we do have in support of the general fund is our Emergency Operations Center, which is going to be a little bit well over probably $2 million or close to. We have our service center roof and waterproofing that you brought up, which is about another $1 million. We also have some ADA improvements that we're going to be making, a little shy of $500,000. And then there's also various park improvements and enhancements that we're doing as well for the parks within the city.
Okay. I wanted to take a minute, Mr. Field, and and ask the council to write this on this slide. We have, for quite some time, talked about restoring the library at 85th and Crenshaw, off of Crenshaw, because that side of the city does not have library services. And so what I'm recommending is that we allocate, and we'll vote on this later, $1.6 million to upgrade and bring back into service the library on 85th, just off of Crenshaw.
Yeah, I'll second that, if you're doing it as a motion.
It is a motion. How would you want us to vote on this, Mr. City Attorney, Madam City Clerk? Do you want us to wait till the end and lump all this stuff together? I bet you would.
There will
wouldn't
be, because there will be.
Okay, so you guys just note that,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we'll go
Noted.
back
So
to
that's
it.
your first action of changes to include the 1.6
Exactly.
million for the library.
Mhm.
Okay, restoration on 85th and Crenshaw.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, one of the things that the city manager and I discussed is whether or not that you're giving direction to the staff to do that, include it, which won't take a motion. They're gonna just do it for the next.
Oh, and bring it back for the vote later on.
Correct.
Okay,
Come back in a month,
yeah,
I think.
that's true.
So,
No action required.
Well, these are the motions to change the
no,
proposed
no, wait,
budget,
wait, you
right?
guys, wait a minute. Now, I'm gonna be the mayor for a minute, okay?
Well, then
Good.
begin.
Okay, wait a minute. We're actually changing the budget proposal.
Exactly.
We must do this right now.
Yes,
This is my choice. Go right ahead.
okay. Okay, and so finally, just to kind of give you an idea of that 61.2 million, these are the categories in which the capital improvement projects, this slide shows the categories of the different types of projects that we will be doing in terms of the count. And so of the 61.2 million in projects, this slide provides the project summary by category for streets, with streets and roadways, street lighting and road improvements, as well as transit stop improvements having the most projects. Those three categories makes up over 40 million of the total CIP budget. Public Works has been improving various streets throughout the city, and this is a continuous of more to come to increase the lane miles and to be completed by the city overall. Facilities projects include multiple projects for civic center enhancements, the city yard, waterproofing, and others, just to name a couple. And that pretty much concludes my presentation.
Okay, there are a couple other things now. Thank you very much. In this proposed budget, it shows moving emergency services from admin to the PD. Emergency services is something that serves the entirety of the city, not just the police department. And so I'm also part of my motion for direction to change is that we move or restore emergency services back to admin under the city manager or assistant city manager, however we think is most effective.
Well, I would think the city manager, and does it have any impact on the budget? Mayor?
No, it doesn't. It's
Well,
a functional authority.
Functional authority. I'll support that. That sounds
Okay.
right.
And then, as a late addition, the police chief has requested that we provide an allocation for cell phones for the field officers so that we can have a greater level of communication and functionality.
Right now, I'm assuming they use their personal phones.
Yes, they do.
So that makes sense.
Okay. And do you have an
And that
amount?
value is approximately 125,000, and that's not just for the actual phones. That's a very minimal amount, but for the continued maintenance and service of that phone collectively is
Yeah, that
125,000.
makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Okay, and so that earlier motion is a direction to staff to change the
Make those
proposed
changes.
budget, 1.6 million allocated for upgrade, restoring the library at 85th and Crenshaw, a functional restoration of line of authority back from the police department to the city manager's office for emergency services, and finally, the amount to be allocated for cell phones for field officers. All right?
Yes.
So do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson, Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Falk,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
that's just an action for change, and when we come back next week for the actual adoption, those things will be included in the change,
Exactly.
okay?
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Fields. DR2,
Staff report recommending approval of Amendment 5 to Agreement Number 19-155 with Nosman LLP, increasing the contract by an additional not to exceed amount of $10,400,000, of which $7,400,000 is allocated for special counsel's direct legal services, and the remainder is allocated to those sub-consultants special counsel has engaged pursuant to the city's direction and furtherance of special counsel's provision of legal services and adding federally required contract clauses.
okay.
Move items 1 and 2.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so that, in explanation, this is special counsel to the proposed ITC project. This is funded by grant fundings from Measure R, from the state, from TRICP money, and so these are not monies that come from the general fund. This is to allow us to continue our planning for a potential people mover to connect the Crenshaw line to the Sports Entertainment District.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear for the public. Madam City Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. SPH1,
Staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to consider zoning code amendment 2021-001 to Chapter 12 of the Englewood Municipal Code to modify regulations for smoke shops citywide.
set the public hearing for October 5th, 2021 at 2 p.m. And to make this clear, this has nothing to do with marijuana shops. They're smoke shops. A1,
Thank you, Mayor. There's no reports from the city attorney's office.
CM1,
Thank you, Mayor. No oral reports from the city manager's office.
CC1,
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I had the pleasure to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new location, Fiesta Cocina and Catiana. I hope I said that correctly.
you
I just
did.
wanna-
You were wonderful. You were better than Alex and
I
Eli.
tried, Cocina, okay. Just congratulations to the Martin family. Their restaurant looks beautiful. That was last week. Also, I attended the groundbreaking ceremony of the Intuit Dome. It's the future home of the Clippers basketball team, and it's phenomenal. It's going to be great. And lastly, I want to remind the residents that next Tuesday, September 28th, marks National Voter Registration Day. So please feel free to reach out to my office for all voting requirements and deadlines. And also, I want to invite all the residents to join me and my deputy as we will participate with the National Voter Registrations Day Action Kickoff Rally with Michelle Obama, September the 23rd, 2021, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's done virtually, so if you want to know or need the Zoom link to participate or be a part of that with former First Lady Michelle Obama, feel free to call me at 310-412-5280. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. CSA2?
I closed it. Sorry, Mary. I closed my book. Approval of the minutes of the meetings held on May 4th, May 11th, May 18th, May 25th, 2021, and June 8th, 2021.
Approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Successor agency members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. Adjourn the successor agency. H2,
Approval of the minutes of the meetings held on May 4th, May 11th, May 18th, May 25th, 2021, and June 8th, 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Housing Authority members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. Adjourn the Housing Authority. F1,
Approval of the minutes of the meeting held on May 4th, 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Finance Authority members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. We'll adjourn the Finance Authority. P1,
Approval of the minutes of the meeting held on May 4th, 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam City Clerk?
Parking Authority members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. Adjourn the Parking Authority. JPA1,
Approval of the minutes of the meetings held on May 4th, 2021 and May 18th, 2021.
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Joint Powers Authority members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Falk. Chairman Buds.
Aye. Adjourn the JPA. There are no appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. Public comment. Any persons wishing to address City Council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered on the agenda may do so at this time.
Mayor,
Yes.
I did receive some public comments via email, and they were all presented to council today.
Thank you very
Yes, sir,
much.
you got it.
Sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name's Pablo, District 4 resident for 15 years, and with the permit that we have in the city, just want to put focus that I know that there's kinks and, you know, we're still work in progress with the permits, but to have both sides, to have availability for parking for the residents is a concern that I think the residents would greatly benefit from. I've been noticing that the permits, it's not like the parking situation has changed. It's still kind of the same. With that being said, I believe that a permanent solution that would benefit all residents in District 4 should be the goal. And I know I've been coming here for a couple of times, and I've suggested a few
And we
things.
appreciate it, Pablo.
Thank you, and, you know, just, you know, I'm here to help and, you know, any way I can with my District 4 councilwoman, so that's what I'm just letting you guys know, that I'm here to help bridge communications between the residents and the mayor and the council members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. One more speaker?
Hello, council members. My name is Greg Essery. I'm the property owner in the city of Englewood. And I have a problem with the city council, the federal government, state government, judicial council. They took away my rights as a property owner. And basically, it's impossible to know what to do. I got a guy that's living there, doesn't pay rent. I can't do nothing about it. I call up your Decatur, the madam that's in charge of the housing authority, and she gives me a runaround every time I talk to her, so I just gave up on it, because there's a.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, let me see if I can help you.
No,
Mr. Cater runs housing protection.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh,
But
well, hold
I
on,
gotta-
hold on, I'm gonna give you
Okay,
more
okay.
time, but what I'm saying is, when you say someone's giving you a runaround, they have to be able to solve your problem. And so you have someone that's not paying you rent, and you're not allowed to evict them, and that's your issue, is or is it not?
Mayor Butts, excuse me, but the woman lied to me. She let's read out. She lied to me. I've got mountains of paperwork that I've faxed. She told me that I couldn't evict the guy. First, she told me I had to give a 60-day, 30-day notice. I give her a 30-day notice to give her a copy of it. And she tells me, no, you got to give a 60-day notice. And I give a 60-day notice, and she said, that's no good. And then I find out I only needed to give a 3-day notice because it's for waste. The guy broke the doors and everything. That's why I wanted to evict him. And they should give me the runaround. Not only that, you don't have a board set up. It was supposed to be done in October of last year. You're supposed to have a board. And how can you make an ordinance, set up a board, there's no board, so I absolutely have no way of being able to run my property. Basically, you and the federal government, everybody have taken my property away from me.
What is your name,
I
sir?
refuse to pay
Sir?
my property tax, yeah.
Sir, what's your name?
Greg Essery.
Okay, Mr. Estrie, why don't you give your information to Mr. Ward right there? And so we'll try and see if we can get you the right information. We don't control the federal, we don't.
What about this board? When are you gonna have a housing authority board?
Hold on one second, man.
It's been a year, sir.
Hold on one second. I see you're frustrated. So we're going to start from the beginning. You're going to get your information, and we're going to talk to you, and we're going to see what we can do for you.
Okay, yeah.
Will that work?
And I
You're
took my property
frustrated.
off the market.
You're frustrated. I get it.
I'm more than frustrated. I'm real frustrated because, you know,
I get that way too.
I mean, it's,
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Your time is terminated right
Okay.
now. Why don't you talk to Mr. Ward, give him your information, your phone number, and we'll see if we can help you.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
And what other, I had one question also about the general budget. What about the I was reading that Balmer's supposed to be putting up $100 million. Where is, and the
Okay.
stadium is putting up
That-
money? No.
That's a very good question.
Where's
So-
it on the budget?
So 80, no, it's not in the budget. First of all, that money is not going to be preferred to the city until he completes his project. Secondly, 80 million of it is set aside for a series of measures to increase affordable housing. 80 million, some of it is loans, some of it is development money. And then there's 9 million set aside to renovate the main library. And then there's other money set aside for youth programs. So that money is not in the budget. It is not available yet. The arena won't open for 3 years, and it'll be available at that time.
What about
But even at that time, it will not be part of the city budget.
Okay, well, they'll never be
Okay?
included in
Now,
I have an idea.
Mr. Estrie, I'm going to have to cut you off right now.
Okay,
And so would you give your information to Mr. Ward? Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay. With that, we'll close public comment. What? Did I do something wrong? No. Oh, he went the wrong way. Okay. Okay, so with that, we'll close public comment, and we're on to council comments. Councilman Dotson, District 1, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Last Saturday, this past Saturday, I had my annual shredding event, and I want to
You have
do
a
some
lot of
thinking.
those.
All of the residents that came out with their papers to be shredded, we had a little over 2.5 tons that we shredded. This is the 7th year, and I couldn't have done this without the help of and assistance of Don Harris Benton of Republic Service. I want to thank the city staff and Angela Williams and her staff in the environmental section. Rudolph Duran of Street Maintenance and Elsa Marino of GSA and Public Works. I also want to thank and acknowledge the help of Pepsi and West Washington Basin and 7-Eleven for their help. And last but not least, I want to give a special shout out to the Inglewood Youth Foundation under the leadership of Richard and Malik Diaz. This is the 3rd year that Richard had brought out students to help, and without their assistance, we would not have been so successful. This organization is a great organization. If you can, you want to put your kids in something, try the Inglewood Youth Foundation. I also want to say something about the Clippers groundbreaking. It was amazing. It really was. We're going into another phase of development. The mayor and the players and Bomber turned over the first shovel of dirt. And as they turned the shovel of dirt over, I was just as proud as the mayor, even though I got to turn it over later. Because this is something that no one in Inglewood could have imagined. I mean, the stadium is great, but what's coming is even better.
Oh, my goodness. I hope Stan Kroenke's not listening to this.
I want to tell everybody make sure you still wear your mask, keep your distance, because right now, California is doing better with this virus than any other state in the country. So let's keep it going that way. Thank you, and you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Padilla, District 2.
Great, thank you, Mayor. So, just real quick, I want to let staff know, great presentation regarding our proposed budget. A lot of work goes into putting this together. I mean, a lot of numbers crunching, a lot of thinking outside the box. How do we do from A to Z, and keep the cost down, but still provide service to our community and continue to make Englewood the premier city that it is. So, today's presentation, as you could see, it was done in a way that, at least for my simple mind, made it so I could understand it, I can follow it, and that means a lot. Because as the public is watching these presentations, we have to ensure that they understand it as well. So I want to thank you for your presentation. Again, think about the assessment districts. I think it was 775,000. The city funds that. Every year we bring it to the council and we approve the 4 different districts to do the lighting and the cleanups and all that. And the city just incurs that cost, 775,000. When you look at the vacant positions that for this budget, we're saying, hey, we're going to include those because we want to get back to full staffing as much as possible. And so that's our goal, so that we can continue to provide, services to our community. So those are things that we, are really thinking about as we grow our city and as we start to provide the quick turnaround that we hope to get going for all our projects and everything that we're doing here in the city of Englewood. The property taxes, as the mayor touched on that. But remember, we have a lot of homes that are being built that are going to be sold. And we as a city have to, be ready to get some of that property tax money.
You mean the real estate transfer
Transfer,
tax?
yeah.
The
Real estate transfer.
tax.
Right.
Let's be clearer than that.
Never
Yeah,
say the
real
word
estate
property tax.
Transfer tax, I'm sorry. So we have to be ready to get those funds, because as you know, SoFi Stadium adjacent, all these homes are gonna be built there, the Daniel Freeman site, all of that is a tax revenue for the city of Englewood. So we have to be prepared and ready to use that wisely. And then I gotta tell you, I had a quick conversation today with some residents, and they were excited because a couple of things. Number one, they went to refinance and they were shocked when they got their value of their property now. And they were like, gosh, thank you, Councilman. Man, thank everybody, because we're able to refinance, not only do what we want to do, but they were able to pull money out for a rainy day, right? A few years ago, they wouldn't have been able to do that. So they were just excited about that. And I shared the stories, thank you. I shared the story about one of my neighbors. Her husband had passed away and she wanted to go into a different living facility. She put her house on the market for 1.3, I think it was, or 1.4. And over the weekend, it sold an all-cash offer. Amazing that, our homes here in Englewood are selling for those prices. And it's only amazing because a few years ago, right, people, 200,000 people thought was a lot for a house. And then it went to 3, 4, and now we're at $1 million plus. There's still, as I tell folks, a lot of meat on the bone, and we're fortunate here in Englewood to be in the position that we're in. So real quick, now I'm going to switch over to one of the items we approved was this concert that the city's going to fund during Super Bowl weekend. And this is going to be a tremendous community event to give back to our residents free. These concerts are going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're going to be R&B, Latin music, soul music, and all free right across from City Hall at Crozier Field. So again, as we get closer to the event, we'll provide more information. If I can just get 30 seconds, Mayor.
Definitely.
Thank you. Tomorrow is the catalytic converter etch and catch event at Rogers Park from 9 to 12. We still have just a few more spaces available. Please call my office if you want to get in on that, where they're going to etch your VIN number on your catalytic converter. Call my office, 310-412-8601. If you're interested, I want to thank IPD and Inglewood Tow and 7-Eleven for helping sponsor that event. Now, people are talking about traffic at SoFi Stadium. Man, it took me 45 minutes once I got into there to get to my parking and getting out 45 minutes. I solved that issue. Not I, but the city solved the issue. So my wife and I went to the Chargers game on Sunday, and we thought, you know what? Let's try the shuttle. It leaves from City Hall. There's one that leaves from the Senior Center, a couple other places. And I got to tell you, that's the best thing. I'm sold on the shuttle service. Laz is the company that provides that through the city. They're the ones that took over for Circle with our parking.
And make sure they know there's a parking structure across from the senior center,
gonna
parking
get to
structure
that.
across from City Hall.
So the other great thing is plenty of parking right behind at the library, right here in the structure, at the senior center. So solve your frustration for us and my wife and I taking the shuttle. It took us, let's just say 15 minutes from when we left here to be walking into the stadium. 15 minutes. When we left, and understand, it was a sold-out game. When we left, it took about, let's say, 10 minutes to walk back to the shuttle and get on the bus, and then about maybe 10 to 15 minutes when we were dropped off in front of City Hall. So props to them for running a smooth shuttle business and getting everybody in and out, quickly. So I also want to congratulate the Martin family again on their grand opening of their Casa Martin Cocina y Cantina right across the street here from City Hall. Congratulations to Saul and Gloria Martin for their success on not only that location, but the other locations they have here in Englewood. With that, thank you, Mayor.
That's right. Let the record reflect. That was more than 35 seconds.
If I'd have said 2 minutes, he'd have said no.
Way more, man.
I'd rather ask for forgiveness than
Man, well, we'll remember that.
So unfortunately, Councilwoman Falk, took all your time.
Hey,
No, Councilman Falk, District 4.
I'll be a lot shorter, I promise. I also want to chime in and just say that I was so happy to participate in the groundbreaking ceremony event for the Clippers Arena. It was an amazing event. I think that I feel so blessed a lot of times to be able to be in this seat and be able to take advantage of such a wonderful opportunity. The mayor was one of the first people to speak, and he represented our city very well. And so, yes, let's give him a hand clap. We're always proud of you, and I'm always proud to be with my colleagues here. So it was a fantastic event, and I really enjoyed it. And I think that this city is definitely one of the best cities in the world, not just the nation, but the world. So thank you again for just, for being there, and I really enjoyed it. So also, another thing really quick is the LA Philharmonic Yola Youth Orchestra LA opened their doors to our babies yesterday. So now our kids are able to participate in programming at Youth Orchestra LA. And they were so excited, and I'm sure that we'll have some good pictures. I'll be able to share those with you, but that was an exciting day yesterday to see them and to see that they're actually going to that beautiful, beautiful facility now. And lastly, this Saturday, September 25th, from 8 to 12, is the passing of the Golden Shovel. And that's a park greening and beautification event. Tree planting, flower planting, painting, general cleanup will happen. This is all taking place at Edward Vincent Park. And they need volunteers. Please reach out to my office if you want to, or the city, but it's going to be a great event. I plan on being there, and I'm sure my colleagues will as well. But if you have an opportunity, please make sure you participate. And lastly, Mayor, I ask that you close in honor of Mr. Willie Wright. He passed away on September 9th after a long illness, and he was the first block club captain for the Spinning Van Ness Block Club, and he co-led the block club with Commissioner Dorothy Cole, a well-respected resident and member of District 4 and City of Englewood. So I ask that we close in his honor. Thank you, Mayor.
Did you say Spinning Van Wyck?
Spinning Van Ness Block
Oh,
Club.
Van Ness.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Willie Wright.
I got that. Councilman Morales, District 3.
Thank you. The budget, thank you, everybody who participated in it. Every year, it's the same thing in terms of how much work you all put in. Some things change, some things are are part of being difficult to manage, but our budget has improved quite a bit. I'll tell you, when I first got here, I think we were battling over 20 or 30 sidewalks for capital improvements. Now we are talking about real projects. We're talking about real infrastructure improvements and maintenance. So, I mean, it's all perspective. We can look at it as well and point at flaws, but this is a living document, and I'm so proud of where we are as a city and how far we've come. In many ways, we are learning to live with our success, and that's going to come. I can tell you that when it comes to things such as taxes, a lot was talked about in terms of the property taxes. And the reason I believe, we all took the time to clarify is because we actually have a ballot measure on. And those are two different items. And what we are dealing with in terms of the ballot is the fact that the transaction tax, we are way out of the line of your average transfer tax amount. Just to give you a comparison, I believe Culver City gets $4 out of every thousand.
$4.50.
Out of every $1,000 on that property amount value, and we get 55 cents, and that is a tremendous difference. We are constantly having to come up with streams of revenue that would be ongoing that are responsible. And this is a responsible way to address some of the things that we haven't addressed in years. So I just wanted to clarify that those are two different things and extremely important. Fiesta Martin, great family. Congratulations. They opened up another location. They are just as proud of being in Englewood as we are of having them in Englewood. So that's a beautiful thing. Clippers, that was a party, and I will tell you that when it comes to the new development and the arena, it's amazing to see that so many folks that are investing are coming in and committing to do first-class projects. They're not coming in to build something simple. They're coming in to build the best of what their industry holds out. So I'm very proud of that. It was a great day, and that's all I got, Mayor.
Okay. I wanted to piggyback a little bit about what you said, and I want to say this again loud and clear. The city does not, cannot, has not ever raised property taxes. We don't have the authority to do that. The only way that your property taxes are raised is if there's an appreciation in your property, and the most, if an assessor decides to do it, is increase your property taxes by 2% in a given year. If a property transfers and is sold for 3 times its value to someone else, it will be reassessed, and it will be assessed at that new value, but that doesn't impact residents. Now, the two measures that are on the ballot, Measures I and Measure H. One is a transient occupancy tax adjustment that brings ours to the same as Culver City, Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. It's a 1.5% increase. It's paid by people that stay in hotel rooms. The second is a real estate transfer tax that is levied out of the proceeds the buyer pays when they buy a property. Now, ours is, as Councilman Morales said, is at 55 cents per thousand. Hasn't been changed in, I think, 40 or 50 years. Los Angeles is $4.50. Culver City is $4.50. Santa Monica is $4.50. However, theirs are tiered. So in Culver City, if you sell a property for $3 million, then it goes up to $6. And then their peak is about $30 per thousand if our property sells over 10 million. Ours is tiered as well. And the first tier is hit when a property sells for more than $1.1 million. That's about 2% of all the transactions that occur in the city. Those are investor transactions. So what's happening right now is that investors are being allowed to invest in our city and not pay a fair share to the city in the taxes that accrue to that investment. So this is money that's paid by investors that buy a property for over 1.1 million. So I want to make that really clear. This is not a property tax measure. It's unfortunate that there are people that profess to care about the city that actually have been elected to the school board that are trying to convince people that this is a property tax increase. It is not. This is something to provide more funding for city services, for doing things like restoring that library, for doing things like the upgrades that have to occur to our parks, the things that we're going to pull out of the general fund because we know these are that important that we would be able to do out of a regular income stream if we were at least equal. We deserve to at least be equal to other cities. Now, about parking and traffic. Anytime a city grows, there are going to be adjustments that need to be made. Traffic is better now than it was after the first game, and it'll be better. Our ability to manage will increase as we learn from each experience. So I'm asking you, the council's asking you, bear with us. There's no way that the permit parking could be perfect, and there will be give and take, and we are listening to you. We're paying attention to you. However, the city has a responsibility to make things work. And so I'm just asking for your indulgence. We're going places we've never been before. We're going places no city's ever been before, quite frankly. And with that, I'm going to close the meeting in the name of Willie Wright, who passed on September 9th. And with that, we're adjourned.
Thank you.